Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
Jeff, Jasmin. Well, we've been building model boats, especially boats of the Chesapeake Bay, the old style boats that used to be used in the Chesapeake Bay. Some of them are newer than others, but like this is a skipjack. This is a dredge boat, and the scows and the Chesapeake skiffs. Just fell in love with the old hull designs on these boats, and they're just, you don't see them built anymore anywhere. So I got into it. Actually, I got into it through Wayne Bell, who's making some of his private boats that he's built are fantastic, and I got interested in them. I was mostly refurbishing old sailboats that I bought, and I've been doing that for like 25 years. I started buying old sailboats at Ortho Mears auctions years ago and started redoing them. And then I got into what they call pond sailboats, which is sailboats that were actually used on sailing clubs and stuff like that for the people. And I've got a pretty extensive collection of them. I've probably got close to 40 of them. My wife says no more boats come in unless one or two go out. So I got them in every wall in our house. But then I got into these, and I really like building these. They're very time consuming to build, but they're a lot of fun. And they're rewarding to get them done and see how they come out. Skipjacks probably take a little bit longer. They probably take 2 to 3 months to build. And this one was about a month and a half, 2 months. It depends on how much detail you put in them. If you're just making a hull, it's not that long. But I make them a little bit different than some people. I take a solid block of wood, like I'm going to take a 2x12 by 10 foot long, and hollow it out and make the holes and stuff out of that. That's how I do it. So it's done a little bit differently. It's not done from, like a model kit thing. They're all from scratch, and they're all no plans at all. Just do it. We go around. Wayne goes out, and I do too. We go out and look at the old boats, and if we see something we like, we take a picture of it, and then we go home and build it. So basically, that's what it is. Yeah, I went up to Deal Island, Maryland, a couple of years ago, and visited the skipjacks up there in the shipyard, and that's when I started building skipjacks. So it's a lot of fun. It's like I say, it keeps me off the streets. It gets me out of my wife's hair because I'm in my shop rather than on, so that's a good thing. She's happy with it. So now Wayne grew up over here on the Eastern Shore, and I grew up in, I was a Massachusetts boy, but I've been down here for 40 years. But I've worked on the water, so I've been around these old boats, and it's just a way of life. They're dying out. There's so few of them, especially the skipjacks. I think there's only 7 in Virginia and Maryland left. And so you don't see many of these old boats, and it's a way of life, and it's a kind of a romantic way of life. I think it is anyway, working on the water and meeting some of the people that worked on the water and building their boats, because you don't find many people that do it anymore. It's just a dying art, for people to build. Now we're amateurs. We're not expert boat builders by some standards, but I think they come out pretty good. Wayne's are exceptional. His scows and stuff are exceptional boats. They really look good. And we go a little bit more detailed than a lot of people. A lot of people just build the hulls, but if you notice, we've got crab pots and clam baskets and crab baskets and oyster baskets and little oysters, and we go a little bit further than a lot of people that build a boat. We got oyster tongs on some of them, and clam rakes and stuff like that. So it's just about everything on the boat is hand built, except for some of maybe the propellers and some of the ship's wheels, and of course the ship's bill. But just about everything else is pretty well hand built, except for the outboard motors, obviously. But it's just fun. They're pretty well obsolete now. I mean, you try and find a buy boat. I mean, they do have up in Urbana, they have a buy boat festival that comes up every year where a lot of people that had the old buy boats, and they go up there. So there are a few of them around, and I hope that the people that have them will pass them on to the next generation that will enjoy them and appreciate them, because once they're gone, they're gone. And these old boats, you see so many of them sitting in the marshes just rotting away. And so I think it's important that we preserve them to the point where people at least have an idea of what they have. They look at a book and they see an old picture of a boat and they say, well, I wonder about that boat. Well, we make a model of that boat, and people can actually see what it works like. And we Wayne and I both have studied a lot, so we know the history of what the boats were used for. There's a boat built over here in Punkateak, Virginia. They built them for about 5 years, and actually up the creek in Punkateak it was a double-masted skipjack. But they found out that when they made it, that it was too too deep a draft for doing dredging, so they started using them as up to beach boats, where they would load up with oysters and carry them up to Jersey and New York and places like that to load them off. So it's interesting to read about these things. And it's interesting about those boats, they were pink and green. And there's a story about why they think the boats might be pink. Story goes that the guy had a bucket of red paint for painting the bottom, and he didn't clean the bucket out properly. He put white in it to paint the hull, and it come out pink. And his wife liked the color, so he painted it pink, and then the top was painted green. So that's kind of strange that it would be that color. That's a weird color for a boat. Almost all of the boats built in Punkateak, which is only one left in the world now, and that's a reproduction, just painted pink and green. So it's interesting. Well, Wayne and I were talking the other day, and I was talking to a oysterman up in Saxus the other day, and we were talking about that, islands like Saxus and Tangiers and places like that, these islands are dwindling. If the government wants to do something for people, they should be helping these islands be preserved for the way of life that they are, because this is the way of life that once it's gone, it's gone. We're not going to have seafood industry in another, it'll all be commercial. It won't be the little man, out on the bay working anymore. It's a very important part of our history that needs to be preserved. So, and hopefully by building these boats, we're preserving a part of it.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelly Gaskell.